Hello and welcome to another video podcast focusing on people working within the entertainment industry. My name is James and I'm a photographer and videographer from Greater Manchester here in the UK. My guest today is Jay Cunningham. Jay is an award-winning director, screenwriter and filmmaker. Jay lives in Liverpool with his wife and 4 children, the city he grew up in with his 7 brothers. From an early age, Jay has always written imaginative stories, writing his first script in 2002 whilst in Australia. In 2014, he enrolled at the John Moores University and completed a 2-year master's degree in screenwriting. With a tiny budget and a great crew, he produced his first short film in 2017 and then another in 2020. The film industry has its rewards, but it also has its costs. Jay gives us a thought-provoking insight into the ups and downs of producing his first feature film with a micro budget in 2021. If something could go wrong, it did go wrong, from the police raiding the set to the main actor getting concussion. The stress and long hours were exhausting and nearly cost Jay his marriage and his sanity. Jay is quoted as saying, "If you fail once, don't be scared of failing a second, third and fourth time. I love writing and I love a challenge. That's why I try and make films." Please don't forget to like, comment and subscribe to my channel for more entertainment video podcasts. So let's jump straight into the podcast. Hello Jay, thank you for coming to the podcast.
No problem.
That was a great bio that we just had, but I was wondering, for the second time, could you just tell us a little bit more about yourself?
Yes, of course. So, hello, my name's Jay Cunningham, Liverpool, born and bred, one of 8 lads, 7 brothers, 4 children and a missus, still live in Liverpool. And I think, I was writing content for a long time and sending it away to the US and lots of different places and nothing was really coming of it. And as I say, that was either because it was crap or because the judges were crap. But I think one of them is true.
We'll go for the judges.
Yeah, well, hopefully the judges, yeah. And so I thought, you know what, I've got a load of stuff here. So I said, I want to, maybe if I had a master's or a qualification, people would take me more seriously. So I applied to a master's degree in screenwriting in Liverpool at university, accepted on that course, 2 years of it, writing all the way from shorts to feature films, multiple feature films, wrote. And then I thought, okay, let's get some funding and shoot some films from people and people like Jay who. So then you go, okay, let's shoot some films myself then. So I started with your films, started shooting them, did quite well. And then I went, do you know what, let's get some funding for some feature films. And then people said again, Jay who? So then I did it myself again. And I wrote, produced and directed my first feature film, which was a sci-fi in Liverpool. And that's now on Amazon Prime. And now I have many more films wrote, some signed on shopping agreements, which is an agreement to produce with a producer, and some with other production companies now. So, hoping to get out there more, shall we say.
So have you always wanted to be a writer? I mean, from school or?
I don't think I ever really. I actually wanted to be a fighter pilot after watching Top Gun, but that didn't work out. I joined the cadets for about 3 weeks and then, realised that there was no Tomcats and Tom Cruise wasn't there, so it wasn't for me. But
do you like motorbikes?
Well, I had a motorbike crash, so I'm having knee surgery next week, so But I do like motorbikes,
Because I've got the GPZ, the Ninja.
So
I remember going to watch the film and riding off.
If you'd ride down by Oggy Shore when the Ryanairs are coming in, you might look like Tom Cruise, who knows? No, I don't think I always wanted to be it, but I have always had crazy ideas in my brain. That's just part of me. And I got to a certain age where I thought, you know what, I actually kind of like creating worlds. I like to see them on paper. My brain is always off on tangents every 2 minutes. So it kind of suits who I am, I think, getting them down on paper.
I was going to ask you that. What is it about writing that moves you, that gets you the juices flowing?
I think we all have ideas about things, but getting them on paper and creating a whole new world with characters and seeing it from start to finish. There's something, to me anyway, that's really appealing about that I can create a whole new world that may never exist, and yet I've created a story with people and emotions and everything. I really like that.
You actually see them with your third eye.
I see everything. If you, maybe writers who are listening to this will understand that when you are writing, you do become the characters, and you do end up sometimes in public places. If you're in cafes and stuff, you start talking loud as if you're them when you're in the middle of writing a script or acting out something in your head, and some people will then begin to kind of look at you as if you're strange.
When you're building these worlds, I mean, do you start with the blank sheet, or are you constantly working from notebooks where you've thought of this idea, that idea, and then you're bringing them together? I mean, how does a writer...
I think everyone's different. I don't think anyone, I don't profess to be an expert at it or anything like that. I just do it. I guess when I first started, I was more bumbling along, but there are actually processes that you can use as a writer that do help you. But the best one, I think, is you start with the end in mind. It's like getting in a car. You kind of need to know where you're going, or you're just going to keep driving round. And it's the same with writing a story. If you don't know where your characters are going, well, when does the story end? So if you start with the end in mind about what happens, you work your way back from there.
Yeah, so you don't start once upon a time.
You start with everyone's happy because they did this. Okay, well, how did they overcome that? And how did they get into that? And what happened before that? And you sort of, for me anyway, that's how I work.
So what's the hardest part of being a writer? I mean, putting aside the director and the producing of your films for a moment, as a writer, what do you think is the hardest thing?
Especially a feature film, or I've just wrote like a 6-part episodic. It's keeping true to the narrative of the character. So making sure the story flows and actually making changes. Because the first thing you do is called a vomit draft. You just get it out, right? Bang, it's on the paper. And then you look back at it and go, Jesus, what was I writing there? But I think once you start doing changes, one small sentence change in one scene or one act might be a tsunami or library of changes later on. And being aware of the changes that you're about to make and its impact on every single scene before or after that.
Because you know the ending.
That is the bit you've got to stay on top of. Yeah. And when you're staring at 90, 120 pages, one small change, is big, can be big somewhere else.
You're using a laptop, aren't you? You're not doing this by hand.
I'm not doing this by hand, no. But I do use a card system. So once I've wrote everything out, I'll write every scene on a card and what the characters are doing. And there are systems now, like if you use Final Draft, if you're a writer, you'll know what that is, which is a software that can put stuff onto cards for you. But doing it by hand for me, sometimes just looking everything in one big thing on the floor or on a wall kind of helps me. Just seeing the flow of stuff.
Do you write a character with an actor in mind?
Sometimes people don't like you to do that, especially if you're trying to pitch a film and say, well, there must be this person, because, well, how do you know? And what if they're not available? And that you've got your heart set on that, and then the whole thing falls apart. But I think you try to do it with an idea of what they could look like, because when you're writing the pages, you actually have the film in your head, the movements, where the cameras are, what it looks like, how they're talking, how people are reacting to them. So I think if you don't have that, then you probably haven't got that creative vision about what everything looks like or what it could look like, especially if you're a director.
Right, so we're moving into your other disciplines there, aren't we? So you've wrote the piece, and now you're also thinking about, right, well, that camera angle go there. That's a close-up, that's a wide. Is that what you're also thinking?
Well, I think, it's when I wrote me sci-fi, if you're just a writer and you don't want any handcuffs or restrictions, then you should just be able to write super creatively about whatever you want, and the helicopter lands here and 3 Lamborghinis drive past there and 3,000 people in the crowd do this. That costs money, right? So as a writer, you don't care. You're just like, well, that's what it is, The But then you take your writer's hat off and then you put your producer's hat on and you go, okay, how the hell are we paying for this? And how are we shooting this? How are we getting it sorted? And then you take that hat off and you get your director's hat and you go, there is no way we're going to get a permit to shoot that helicopter scene on top of the Liver buildings or whatever you want to do, right? So writers write what they want, producers go, let's get realistic, and directors go, how the hell are we going to shoot it? So when you're doing all three, you're like constantly battling with the different hats. That's why it's probably better to have a producer taking over things, let you be as creative as possible, and then they sit you down and give you the reality check. You're not quite there at Christopher Nolan's budget yet, son. So, yeah.
Maybe soon. So it is a team effort, isn't it?
Well, it's 100%. It is the biggest team effort, I think, of anything out there.
But you started this thing. You wrote it. It's your baby. How do you feel when someone says, Jay, we can't, I don't know, can we put this in? Or
I think, so I've had this with my recent producer, who's Chris, who's a great guy, Chris Johnson. Hello, Chris, if you're watching this. You've got to be receptive to ideas. Those people who are not flexible or receptive to different ideas about how an outcome could be, or a character could do something different, or couldn't you shoot it here? If the people are inflexible, they're generally probably not going to be good to work with. You've got to be open to any. Perfection is the enemy of great. So try and stay in the great area. If you want perfection in everything, you're probably going to be a miserable person.
So working on set, or long before it actually gets to set, you don't mind the extra input from people, and you thrash it out.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I think you've got to be open to ideas. I mean, why am I qualified or justified to say I have the answer to everything? I would love to, but other people's perspectives is fantastic. And if people take time to read your screenplay, well, that's an honour, because people are busy. So if people are offering to read it and give you advice, wow, take it.
So you mentioned the three hats that you've wore there. Looking back on it, did you like any of them? We preferred them. Did you still prefer to be the writer? Or
yeah, I definitely have a pecking order. Producing is, I get it, but I don't. It would be the third I'd want to do. I love the writing, and I absolutely, directing is the best. So writing and directing, I would be hard to choose from, but I like creating the worlds, but I also like bringing them to life, and I like working with people. So directing on set with lots of different people is...
So you can see the creativity in both?
Yeah, it's massive creativity. Director's just an amazing job, and everyone who is a director doing it day in, day out, in my eyes, if there's a heaven, and hopefully that's what I'd be doing, yeah. Okay
then, so thinking of heaven and earth, have you got a favourite writer? And then I'll ask you, have you got a favourite director?
So favourite writer, I mean, there's quite a few. Favourite, I mean, that's a hard question there. You know, I really respect Christopher Nolan and his brother Jonathan. Jonathan does a lot of the screenwriting. I know Christopher gets involved in that as well. Martin Scorsese is, you know, amazing. Love his films, but I love Christopher Nolan's films. God, it'd be hard for me to choose there.
It's an awful question, because one day you might like someone, another day you might like someone else. Particular genres, because you mentioned one of your films is sci-fi, so you move on, don't you? So you might like. Are you a romantic person? Do you like romance?
I wouldn't say chick flicks are at the top of me watch list, but you know, I think Christopher Nolan just makes a wide variety of films which are generally well thought out and very deep films. So you have to watch them probably 2 or 3 times to get to them. Quentin Tarantino, again, is just absolutely outstanding. Yeah. If
we were to go to the cinema with you,
yeah,
and we're sitting there with our popcorn, what would we watch? And would you be a nightmare to be sitting with? Because do you watch it for entertainment, or would you be picking it apart?
No, I do both. So I do watch it for entertainment, but I do look for the clues and the structure and everything, and try and anticipate what might be coming, I guess. But I think anybody who works in any space would do the same on something that they love doing as well. But definitely I would enjoy it for sure. I think as a kid, it was just the most magical place to be in the world.
So you mentioned Tarantino there. Which one of his would we go and see?
Oh, God.
I only like Pulp Fiction.
You only like Pulp Fiction? I mean, Pulp Fiction's great, isn't it? Reservoir, is fantastic. Yeah. So they're the older ones, and then you move into the newer stuff that he's done. So, yeah, again, to pick from a master like that, what's the best, is difficult. I think I've enjoyed all his films in different ways.
So when you're relaxing, you're chilling, or you're perhaps looking for a bit of inspiration, what do you do there to find it? Would you go to the cinema, or would you walk the beach, or walk your dog?
I don't think. I think I need a list to get into the right headspace. I actually listen to like orchestral music by people like Hans Zimmer or Ivan Torrent or people like that. And there's lots of playlists on things like YouTube now, which just settle me down a bit and allow me to start thinking about things.
And then you develop this world.
Yeah, but I think I always see something in the news, or I hear something, or I read about a snippet of something. I think, do you know what? That'd be interesting. And I think one of the great questions a screenwriter has is, what if, or imagine if? And you start with that, and then you go to the end of the story, and then you work your way back. So I think there's so much stuff out there in the world. There's just content everywhere. It's focusing in on, I think you've got to be interested in it, because it takes so much of your time. If you're not interested in it, you're not going to do it justice.
You've got to be interested in people.
Yeah, you've got to be interested in people. You've got to be interested in the story. If you don't like the story or the characters and what's happening, because it is a long slog. I know you hear stories of people, I wrote this in 2 days, and, I don't know how true that is.
Well, as you were talking about writers, I was thinking of George R.R. Martin and Game of Thrones, because he's not even finished that, has he?
Great show. One of my favourite shows on telly ever.
What do you think of the ending, though?
Yeah, I don't know. Everyone moans about that, don't they? I think the second to last, the penultimate show was amazing, where, sorry if you haven't seen it, where, I can't remember her name now, the young girl gets the ice king.
Ara, is it Ara?
Yeah, and all that, and the build up to it, and the battle, and the just outstanding. And then you get to the last one, you're like, yeah, I'm not so sure about this. But probably I've never enjoyed a TV show as much as that. And any time my missus walked in the living room and seen a dragon flying over the screen, she just kicked off and walked out. So
there was so many characters they could have played with it. I mean, the faceless man, they didn't do things with him. And then the Ice King himself. There was just so much.
And there was a lot of backstory. I mean, you've seen the little snippets of how he became it, and you're like, wow, this is just intriguing. Let's. What about more backstory on him, and what was he doing before that moment, and why did they get him, and it's. And I'm sure I don't really read many books. I'm sure the book probably can do it more justice and explore it, but I still think they had a bloody good go, and it was an amazing show. You
actually mentioned there, though, something that you touched on. You're a writer, and then there's a screenwriter. So that's a fourth hat, isn't it, being a screenwriter?
Well, I don't write novels. I only screenwrite. Yeah, so I don't do any books. Although I've been speaking to a pal of mine who's a real good friend, Antonio Gallas, and he has got a film, but he's also got it into a novel. So it is something I'm exploring, but I just enjoy writing the films because I want to visualize it on the screen. So I want to take that natural step in from writing to seeing if we can get it on set.
Okay, well let's talk about one of your films. Can we talk about J1S? Could you just briefly tell us about it and where the idea came from? And
yeah, I think I'm totally fascinated with AI. That just amazes me, and more of it is entering in our lives all the time, even more than when I was researching this film. And I only wrote it as a quick short for 5 minutes, and then it started to develop legs. And I mean, I still can't understand why I did it, but as a first feature film, who tries to make a micro budget sci-fi? I still need to have a word with myself, actually. But yeah, and I guess the idea came from, I'm just watching slowly, as we all probably are, of the world's over-reliance on technology, and sooner or later it's going to flip. And you've had all the films of Terminator and AI by Spielberg. You know, all these films are out there and ask those questions. But I just thought, why don't we have one in Liverpool with AI?
Why not?
Why not? I mean, you know, and so yeah, I gave it a shot, and yeah, and it's a story that really asks a question of, if we do create something with that much power, and it walks around, do we think we can trust it, and do we think that it would be subservient to us? And because there isn't an example in history where something more advanced and more powerful bows down to the race of people that are not. So Native Americans with the European conquerors, the South America with, you know, the Spanish conquistadors, and Africa, and everywhere you look, it's always the ones with the more technology and who think they're more advanced who take over those others. So why are we hell-bent on creating something that history tells us is going to take over us? Mm-hmm. And for me, that's the question that I was looking to sort of answer.
Is it a dystopian future?
Yeah. It's the way I put it, it's now but a different now. So it's an alternate now that could happen, but it's not actually happened. And it was hard to shoot because I also had zero money. So everything was against the brick wall or in an interior that I tried to make it look a little bit different if I could, with makeup or whatever I had at my disposal, really. Because I didn't want to show, you know, a black cab going past, or the bus, Mersey bus, you know, in the middle of this dystopian different now. So try best with what I had to shoot a feature, yeah.
Can we go a little bit into that? I mean, you've wrote this screenplay.
Yeah.
How do you then pitch that?
I was pitching it and trying to get money for it, but again, it comes back to the bit I talked about before, where, you know, it's the J who question. It's like, well, why are we going to give this guy any money? You know, what's he done? Who is he? So I took it upon myself to try and prove to people that I can do it. And I can get out there, and you've got to trust me. I know I can do this. But when you're pitching, like anything, you don't know someone, you get their attention for a couple of minutes. If you're lucky enough to get in the room with them, or for them to answer the phone and ask them the question, you know, this is the film I want to do. But as soon as you say a sentence of, by the way, I've wrote a sci-fi film in Liverpool about AI and it escapes, and they go, whoa, that's going to cost millions. So then it's over. Yeah. Whereas if you say, I've wrote a play about a man and a dog in a pub, and it'll be dead easy to shoot, and I think I can do it in 2 days. Have you got 500 quid for me? People might go, yeah. But if they go, who are you? You want to do a sci-fi in Liverpool? Hang on a minute, son, you're getting ahead of yourself here.
Just to go a little sidetrack there, in Liverpool, which football team did he support?
I support Liverpool. I still support Liverpool, yeah.
Could you not have gone into the pitch somehow and get them sponsorship? Say, no. Oh, JS, you know, is he an android? Is he, or is he just a human?
No, he's a humanoid. Yeah, so he's like he's just a creation of man who's an AI who thinks for himself.
Would he have made a good striker?
He's 6'5", I think. Our friend Brian. So I think he probably would have been better in goal. Yeah, but he's an Evertonian, actually, the lead character.
Oh dear, that's bad.
Yeah.
So who do you work with, and who do you like to work with when you're on a production? And again, you can think of J1S there. I mean,
so I've sort of kept similar people with the two that I've done.
This is where you build up a team of people that you like. And you know.
Yeah. So, like, I was actually out for a meal on Friday, and I bumped into me sound guy, Luke. And he was in the back of the restaurant and didn't know, and then he walked out, and then we were hugging each other and everything outside on Friday night. So Luke Hodgkinson on sound, I think, you know, trust Luke implicitly. I think cinematographers, I've worked with a few. I've worked with Alex Stevenson, he's a great guy. And I've worked with a French crew, flew over from Paris, Matthias Ros Dempowski and Jan Cornier who both, I think they moved to Brittany now, but they did live in Paris. And Matthias trained at Lotz Film School where Roman Polanski went. So Matthias is, sorry for the French here, shit hot with the glass, as they say. So with the cameras and the lenses, he's outstanding. And I love working with Matthias. And we nearly had an opportunity to shoot a documentary in the US this year, and the funding just fell through at the last minute, really. But Matthias and Jan, amazing. Alex, fantastic guy as well. And then my editor, who I've used many times, is Will Simpson. Will's a top fella. We trusted each other from university, and even to this day, you know, I think we both know each other, trust each other implicitly. So yeah.
As you named all those people there and the different departments they work in, as the writer, director, producer, who's the easiest, or do you have to be subtle with all of them and you have to...
So as the writer, I think you just hand the script over to the director, then it becomes the director's. When you're the writer director, you've got the beauty of doing them both. So you know, it's like makeup. You know, I've worked with Zara Abraham, who I think's been on this show. I've worked with Vic Moore, who's a brilliant girl. I've worked with Sarah Davies, and many more people. You know, and the process they'd have to go with those guys before we've even got on set of talking about what the characters will look like. I mean, Vic and me did many days of making prosthetic arms and digital ideas and so many different things. Me and Vic spent so much time before you even got on set, and no one might even see what we've done. It might not even make it to the final cut. And Sarah as well, and Zara, you know, they're all great guys, and so much work happens in film before you've even got on set. The amount of meetings you have to get everyone. You don't want to be having those meetings on set. You want everyone to come to set knowing this is the idea, this is what we're going to do. Yet you need to be flexible to change ideas from any of the departments. Cinematographer might have a different idea. The sound guy, visual effects might be talking to you before you've even got on set. I mean, there's so many different departments that you have to be open to ideas, but in your mind as the director on the set, you have to know what you want, because if you don't, everyone's going to be telling you everything and the production will stop.
So you would meet with the cinematographer and you would say, I'd quite like the lens choice to be this, or I would like the...
Well, no, I mean, I don't know all the technicalities of, know what the lenses do and what they can shoot and stuff, but I think what you have to say is, I want the shot to look like this. So you can do a shot list and work with the cinematographer on that. Or I think you can give them an ideas of what you want to see. But then when you get on set and you might do a recce beforehand, cinematographer might see something that you haven't seen, because they're all very keen-eyed boys and girls, right? And they might say, well, if we could do it from over here, you might see this. And then you look at it down the lens and you go, wow, you know, that's the one. Let's have that. So yeah, I think you just got to be open to ideas, but know in your mind how long you've got for each shot and how long the day's ticking along.
So is that because an underrated aspect of all films is sound? So you mentioned the sound guy there. Would you be thinking of...
I think it's massive sound. You've got to do a recce with them, because they pick up on things straight away. I mean, they do some test sound. They go, oh, the air conditioning unit, I can really hear it. Well, how do we turn the aircon off? Oh, this room's brilliant. And then you turn up on set and someone's got a drill over the road, or there's an helicopter, or there's kids playing that weren't playing. 3 days you went on a bounce to look at a room and there was no noise and no kids, and maybe you've gone at the wrong time. And then you turn up and there's a school in the distance, which is always aired in the background. I remember turning up on set and there was a scaffolding around the building, and I had a permit to shoot in the building. And I was like, listen, this is the only day. I've got the crew from France. You know, we're supposed to be shooting in here. What the hell's going on? They're like, oh, sorry, there's work that needs to be done. So we had to wait until the drill stopped and then go, now, go, action, boom, boom, boom. And then drill starting again, stop. And it's just, again, perfection and great. If you want perfection in film, you're going to be very, very cheesed off. You have to be ready for every eventuality and just be happy that you can hopefully get it done.
So you mentioned a few of the other productions you'd be on. Is there a definite evolution in your style, your writing, and the way you produce? And because is J1S the first one that you directed on?
No, so, well, for a feature, yeah. So, and since then I've been, I finished that during COVID, and then it went on Prime in May 21, I think, something like that, April, May 2021. And it's in the US, UK, and I'm looking at Australia and some other markets for it now. And since then, I've been writing and going to Cannes Film Festival and different places and pitching, and then I've signed shopping agreements on other scripts, and breaking into parties and trying to obnob with the right people.
So they're not going now, Jay, who? They're going, oh, hi, Jay.
Well, as soon as you say you've done something on Prime, it does help you, because okay, you've done something, you've got a credit, and a credit that people can see, and so it does help you, but it's not easy. It's hard because money's post-COVID, money's been tight. Productions, it's dried up. Then you bring in the writer strikes and everything else that's been happening recently, all over residuals and who's getting paid what. So that stalls everything. But you still keep cracking. You're still having pitches. You're still trying to get the right meetings. And
is there one thing from J1S that you'll take away and you'll say, right, my next production, I'm going to do it this way. I know how to do that now. And
oh my God, yeah. I mean, if I was filming that now, I would do it very differently. And sorry to the crew, because they were long days then, and it was tough. And everyone that helped me, as I've told them before, a massive debt of gratitude always to them all. And we had such a tight-knit crew. And I think I was interacting with like 30, 40 people a day, every day, making sure because I was doing producing and directing and making sure everything was right every single day. It is not for the faint of heart. And I wouldn't do it all again like that, no. So I've definitely learned, and I've learned to respect people's time more as well. Yeah. But independent productions where you get let in a room and then they give you half the time that they promised you, or the police raid you set, or the ambulances turn up because someone split their head open, and you name it, it happened, and you learn from it, yeah.
Excellent. Right. So you mentioned earlier AI, and AI's throughout the whole of J1S. Are you worried about AI in the real world? I mean, when it comes to writers?
Yeah, it's everywhere. And AI's been helping us for years anyway. I mean, an AI is like your spell check on your Microsoft Word or your phone. It's just an intelligence that's there that spots an error in your writing or something like that. And then you get ChatGPT, which is out there now, and then there's other ones, Gen AI or whatever they're called. There's tons of them. And yeah, the people are worried. People are saying now they can tell films that have been written by AI programs, and that they're very formulaic and just trying to be a commercialized thing. It's not about art. It's not about human expression. It's just trying to look for things that are sure hits. But yeah, I mean, it's everywhere. I mean, there's AI software now that does your planning for the shoot that would have been done by somebody. There's, for scheduling, every walk of life that you can think of, never mind film. AI is going to create mass unemployment.
I didn't realise there's potential productions out there that have been really overused AI already. Yeah. I mean, I've heard skits about, there's one out at the moment called The Creator, and they were saying that you could basically put those characters in any other film that's been before, apart from the CG, the special effects in it, which are great, but the story, the backstory to it is standard, I believe.
Yeah, I haven't seen it yet. So when I have my knee operation next week, it's one of the films I'm going to sit down and watch. I did want to watch it in the cinema, and I do like the guys behind it. But yes, I don't think it has as long as probably a cinematic a run, or maybe as an impact that they thought it was going to be. But I still like the idea of the story that, AI is trying to take over the world, does the first strike, and then they try to mimic us to stop us from hurting them, which is creating people that look like us.
I wonder why they didn't think of shooting it in Liverpool.
Yeah, it's been done.
So how do you feel about the writer's strike in America? And because that was all about AI, wasn't it?
Well, it was more about residuals and the streaming platforms, and that yeah, whereas people did a cinematic release, you'd get paid, right? And because it's some of the straight to streamers and how long is it there for and how long is the payment's going to be and the payment contracts and everything else that's going on in the background, whether it's multiple layers of it. And I think people are rightly so worried about a lot of things. I mean, the world's changed. You know, when I was a kid and you were a kid, it went to the cinema, if it was lucky, right? So it went to cinema, then it went to VHS, Betamax.
But they were at the cinema for a couple of years.
Yeah,
And then
I mean, we didn't get anything in the UK until it had been in the US for like 2 years, right? So we were always way behind. Now it's released the week after, right? Because they're worried about digital, you know, copies and stuff going out there. So they try to maximize people straight away and the revenues from it. And you look at the Marvel and the success of them. I mean, they work, right? Fast and the Furious, up to Fast and the Furious 20, right? Or whatever. It's just going to keep going.
I've never seen a one.
People want to watch it, right? But yeah, I think it's the writers' strikes have been there. So that stopped things and stopped me pitching and stopped me having meetings. But they're back on now and I've been doing a few recently. So I think people are just worried about how do you protect the writers, especially the younger ones coming through that haven't got the money, that aren't earning the money. So how can they ever be a full-time writer because there is no money for them and all the other jobs are taken? And is AI going to come in and start taking over and studios look at it and go, do you know what? Let's just get the AI doing it. If it's earning us money and we don't have to pay people, happy days.
Could you imagine that day happening where a studio says, right, let's produce a sci-fi, let's do it in the style of, and let's get
Oh yeah, definitely
digital artists in to play the main role?
Yeah. Honestly, I mean, you see in the Irishman, right, from Scorsese, and they digitally altered the age of De Niro.
Made him younger, didn't they?
Yeah. And made them look younger. And then you see in the fight scene with him and you think, come on, you know, it don't look right. So, yeah, but things are going to move on. Soon will we be able to tell the difference? And those deep fakes that are out there. And, you know, a new Tom Cruise is born who's never even a real person, who's a superstar on film. I mean, I was reading something before, you know, these, what are they called? The people they have on influencers, right? On Instagram or whatever. So this company's created an influencer that doesn't even exist, that looks real and is earning them 14 grand a month. Don't even exist. But a quote that I heard that I really, really like. Right now, AI won't take your job, but people who are using it will.
It comes down to money. And if it's cheaper to get the AI to do it, software that you've subscribed to and...
Exactly. And, you know, some hotshot kid, she gets out of uni, she knows how to use AI, she's using AI on her work, and she's presenting stuff which looks 10 times cooler than yours, gets the right pictures, she's in all the right meetings. She's still a girl who's doing a thing, she's using AI to give her the leg up. Hey, that's fair game now, that's the way it is. So, you know, my advice is, not that it's worth anything, but if you can use AI, do it, because everybody else is.
So is the future for writers smaller features?
Studios want sure hits. They want existing people who they know that they have done it before, who can get out there. And it comes back to that thing again. I mean, I had feedback from, I can't remember which one it was, one of the studios, who said, we love the story you've got, but you're unknown and we're not willing to take the risk on you. And I'm like, well, who fucking will then? You know, I've done what yous have asked. I've made my own feature. I've got it on Prime. I don't know what more I can do before you have to give me a chance, you know. Somebody will. We're nearly there. But, yeah, that's the tough bit.
Can we move on and talk about the industry? Because you've worked in it for a good few years now. Has it evolved? Has it changed? And what would you like to see as a change?
You know, people from working class, lower socioeconomic backgrounds, giving them an opportunity, regardless of race, religion, sexual persuasion, giving people who haven't been to the right school a chance, right? And giving them an opportunity, because there are lots of raw, uncut gems out there that need an opportunity and a voice. So giving them a chance given the studios backing that, and they say they back it, I don't always see it. I think giving them, a good go. I know that there are initiatives out there, but some of them are quite narrow in my mind. They may only focus on one particular subset of the population or demographic. So it might be, this is only for you if you fit in this box. We don't want to hear from everybody else. And I think, how do we get and it's right to do that, because some of those people have underrepresented voices, right? So it's right to give those people an opportunity to do something. But is there an opportunity to go into places where the kids have never even thought about writing a film or shooting something, and seeing if you've got people who've just got outstanding ideas, who are naturally creative, an opportunity? Because film stuff costs a lot of money. It costs money to make film. Yeah, you can do something on your iPhone and everybody's got that, so that's made it more accessible. But doing something that gives kids in working class environments and lower class across the UK access to equipment to see what they can do, and see if you've got some amazing voices in there. Because a lot of people who go to creative further education are backed by mum and dad, and they can afford to make mistakes and keep getting it wrong until the mid-20s, because the mum and dad have still got the back. Where I came from, we didn't have anything. I had to work at 16. So I didn't have the luxury of saying, I'm going to be creative for 3 or 4 years. How do we support those people? And to me, I'm not bothered of, again, religion, race, persuasion, anything like that. Just give people a chance from the environments that don't have the money to have that opportunity, and let's see what we find.
So what do you like least about the industry? Or does that touch on it really, doesn't it? The glass ceiling that no one can get through.
And no, I think people do break through it, but I think it's hard because it takes a lot of money. And the hard bit is, well, you haven't done it before. So how do you ever get to do it if you've never done it before? Show me what you've got. Well, I can't do it because no one will back me. So that's a tough bit. But I think it can be a little bit nepotistic, sometimes elitist. I think there are companies out there trying to help people access. It's a very daunting place for a lot of people, I would say.
So to any of those people that the up and coming, if you could give them a piece of advice, what would it be?
Just go and do something. If you can get a phone, you can do anything. Think of something that hasn't been done before. Think about something that might be interesting, but make sure it interests you. Because if it interests you, you'll put the extra hours in and the passion will come through, and hopefully we'll all enjoy the story. So, years ago we only had Nokias, if that. You had Snake on it. That was about it, wasn't it? Now, most phones have got a camera on.
Yeah.
So you can shoot something. I'd have loved that as a kid. Probably would have got me in trouble, but yeah.
And don't worry about if it's not perfect, as long as the content's there.
You're going to make mistakes. I look back at my films, and I think every director does it and cringes at certain bits. And the doer's queue is always the shortest queue, right? The critics is always the longest. Get in the doer's queue, right? And get thick skin. People are always going to talk shit about you. Just be comfortable when it happens. But be a doer. Anyone can be a critic. Not everyone can be a doer.
Yeah, critics. Let's not go there. So has there been a piece of advice that someone's given you and you've gone, I'll remember that, I'll use it?
I think you're always getting advice, aren't you, from lots of different people. I think one person said to me, just keep going. You don't know how far you are from nearly being there. So we haven't only come this far to go this far. So, you could be literally the next meeting away from everything changing. So don't give up, because it is disheartening. You will hear more no than yes. But one yes can change your life. And don't always listen to everyone. One person said to me, I think I said it before, you can't make that film, you need millions. And then I made it and got it on Prime. And I remembered that meeting, and I thought, if I'd have listened to you, I'd have just give up. And I didn't.
So I bet that felt good.
It felt great.
So what's the film community like in Liverpool?
Oh, there's loads of great people, yeah. So many of them.
And you all linked by social media? Do you use
I've
social
come off
media?
it for a little bit, social media. I'm having a little bit of a social media break for a bit. I think you get overwhelmed by it. And if you go on Twitter or X or whatever it's called now, it's just all doom and gloom, innit? Because they've removed all the filters, so everybody's chatting about everything. So I think you can go down rabbit holes, can't you?
And everything's extremely polarised.
Oh, massive. You're either right or left. You're not allowed to have I could be vanilla in the middle on the fence, you know? It's extremely polarised.
You're either blue or red.
Blue or red, or, sorry to say this, you're Hamas or Israel, or you whatever, right? You can't be anything in the middle. You've got to support one. And the world's getting crazy about all that, isn't it? But we won't talk about politics or, I'm from Liverpool, so there's, yeah. Wind people up from Liverpool easy.
It's rare in life anything's black and white. It's all shades of grey. As a writer, director, are you on Spotlight?
No, I'm not on Spotlight. I'm on IMDb, which is the International Movie Database. I'm on there. My credits are on there. I write my own stuff, so really I don't go on Spotlight looking for people to come and get me. I'm out there pushing my stuff. So, yeah, I work with my producer and different people trying to get it out there.
Okay. I'm going to ask you one of the most difficult questions now. Where do you want to be in the next 5 years?
If I could be financially stable, writing content that people enjoyed, that's where I would love to be. And if I could direct them, it would be like the cherry on the cherry bakewell. Yeah.
How many films have you got inside you?
Oh, that's loads. 3 are done. 1's episodic. I've got a 4th, which I pitched to somebody recently and they loved it, and I want to shoot it, but it's a horror and it scared the shit out of me. And I had a Catholic upbringing, so I'm scared to death of the devil, and I wish I hadn't started it now because I keep freaking out. But yeah.
That sounds interesting, that one.
Yeah.
Go and give us a teaser. Is it like Hellraiser or...
Nah, it's not costumey like that. It's more what you don't see that scares the shit out of you. And the suspense that comes with that, and possession, and in 1960s Liverpool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. With the church involved. And so it's not like The Exorcist or anything. There's no spinning heads and vomit or anything like that. It's more about people not believing people when something's happening. And it's what adults don't see. When the kids see it, and then the adults don't believe the children. It's a bit of something. I won't say any more.
I'm thinking Sixth Sense there.
Yeah, it's not like that, and I do respect M. Night Shyamalan. What a piece of work that was. But
That was a good twist, that one.
unbelievable at the end, and I'd never seen that coming. I was just like, wow, bang. I think it got everyone, really, didn't it?
It did, yeah. It was excellent, that. There is only one film I've ever walked out. Well, we didn't walk out, but at the end, when it ended, the whole auditorium came out and it was deadly silent because it affected everyone so much. Everyone was on a real downer. It was number 7.
Oh, 7, yeah, with Brad Pitt. That's an outstanding film. And Morgan Freeman. Is it Morgan Freeman?
Yeah.
Yeah. And the bit at the end, we won't say anything about Gwyneth Paltrow, but yeah. And you're like, oh dear.
Yeah.
Is it Spacey?
It is, isn't it? Yeah.
Is Spacey the
baddie?
The baddie. I don't know if it is. I can't remember. It might be. Is it? Yeah. Cracking film.
Well, I don't know. We just all came away from it, and I just remember walking out, and everyone was in silence, just going. Because when it was Top Gun, it was good. Everyone was going, yeah,
but they're different films, aren't they? It's They're the 80s classics of the world's great, and leave the cinema. There's positivity and yeah.
So, which genre do you like?
I like all. Well, I think that's probably hard to say. I mean, I used to love, and I probably still do, like the old gangster stuff from Scorsese, right? His old historical pieces on the Italian mafia and
The Godfather.
and different things like that.
And do you like sci-fi?
I do like sci-fi, you know, and it's a very strange world, the sci-fi world, because there's lots of rules that you have to follow, and people, you can't do that because, you know, so the sort of rules that you have to stick to.
Give us an indication there.
Well, I don't know. It's just like you couldn't. So I think what's his name has just done Rebel Moon, and he pitched it as a Star Wars story, didn't he? To, was it Disney or somewhere else? And they said no, it can't be Star Wars because of this, that, and the other. So he said, well, sod you then. I'm going to write Rebel Moon myself as an independent thing, and I think it's dumping on Netflix. Is it next week or in the next?
Oh, right.
Yeah, which should be good, and it's like a new universe that he's created, but because there was certain things that probably didn't lean towards what they wanted, it wasn't allowed to be part of the Star Wars environment.
So is that the money men saying, "Oh, that's been flogged to death now. Let's
I
move
think
this
Star
way."
Wars is a license to print money, isn't it? Really. But yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing that actually. That and Killers of the Flower Moon. I was in Cannes and I couldn't get a bloody ticket for it. That was they were all there. And the year before, I got to the Top Gun premiere, which was amazing, outstanding. Just to be a part of that with Tom Cruise there, and everyone was just Jerry Bruckheimer, amazing. And then it's just Scorsese's just been like, my favourite for so long, and to not get a ticket, but it was a fucking nightmare to get a ticket for that.
So you can't. So you like all genres. Can I just ask you though, your horror one, does good win in the end? Or would that give too much away?
Does good win in the end? I think the message is in there for everyone, loud and clear. And I won't say what it is. But, yeah, it ends better than what happens throughout the story. Yeah.
Okay, Jay, you actually said that you were going to explain this image we've got on the laptop.
The picture is essentially, it's my mum pushing a pram in Kirby in Liverpool, where I first lived as a kid. And there was a tree on a road off Glover's Brow in Kirby. And most kids' first words are mum or dad, or dad or mama or whatever, right? Mine was tree. So that's the name of the company. And yeah, that's my old mum there, Julie, pushing me down through the streets of Kirby. And I used to point out the pram at this one particular tree and say tree. So that's the name of the company, and that's where it comes from.
And the company is your company?
Yeah, it's my company. It's what all my films go under. And yeah, that's mine.
So with your production company, who are you hoping to work with? What have you got up your sleeve?
Yeah, well, obviously work with lots of people, but if you can work with people who are from Liverpool, about stories on Liverpool, then it would be amazing to work with people like Stephen Graham, Hannah Walters, his partner, and several other people from the city, really. I think every city is unique. Can't just say Liverpool is unique, but I'm just proud to be from Liverpool, and there's so many stories. The city has been through so much for hundreds of years, and I've just got so many stories to tell about where I'm from. I don't need to go anywhere else. So if I can stay in Liverpool, where I love, and make movies about my city with people who love the city, that would be my dream.
There's another city quite close though, quite a nice big city. Manchester, that's quite good, isn't it?
Runcorn, yeah. Runcorn is lovely. Yeah.
Do you play with the rivalry between our two cities?
Yeah, listen, we're 30 miles or half an hour from each other, and, you know, when it comes to football, especially United, and listen, City's on top at the moment, right? But the real rivalry is us and United. Yeah. Although City are there. Hopefully they get docked some points. Sorry to all the City fans if you're watching this. But poor old Everton getting docked those points and only had one violation, and City got 115. Let's see what happens, eh? Don't know who you support.
You can slag anyone off. I don't support anyone.
I'm only joking, right? Listen, I'm a Liverpool fan, so I'm going to say it, aren't I?
I actually think football is the world's most boring game.
Yeah.
So there you go.
go.
I'm an archer and a martial artist for this. So, okay. How does Jay keep sane in this mad world? What do you do to relax and chill?
Yeah, I think I have kids to keep me busy anyway, for sure. But I think I just have me time writing and listening to that music that I spoke about before, like Hans Zimmer and people like that. He's coming to Manchester, I think, next year. I've got tickets for it. I can't wait for that. So music is my portal from the madness, I would say, yeah.
And football?
Football, definitely. I mean, we should have beat City the other day, but we didn't, so...
So I'm a headshot photographer. I'm also a videographer. Do you like having your headshot done? Do you like having to promote yourself?
No. I mean, I don't mind talking to people, but that's why I like the writing and directing. I would never want to be an actor. Don't really like looking at myself. And I think, headshots are necessary, aren't they? Because people need to know what you look like and who you are. But I wouldn't say I'm comfortable in front of the camera.
It's just the aging process, isn't it? It's not nice. It's not nice
Winter's
to anyone.
coming, as you can see. Yeah.
So we're coming near to the end of the podcast now.
Yeah.
And I ask this to everyone: who would you like to hear on the next podcast? If you could wave a magic wand and get anyone stood where you are now.
Anyone in the world? Well, within reason, I think, I think my pal Keith Island's a good guy. He's an actor and director now. He's just finishing up at Liverpool, I think. Antonio Gallus is a good friend of mine. He's a writer and a director and an actor. He's a busy lad. I think they'd be interesting for you to speak to. But I think if you could get my cinematographer on from Paris, but you'd have to do it digitally. That's the problem. He's had a very interesting life and went to an amazing film school and has had a very colourful time over there. He would be good. But yeah, if you could get anyone, get Christopher Nolan.
I do aim to one day do a podcast in French because I'm teaching myself French at the moment.
Cool.
It will either be an entertainment one or an archery podcast, one of the two. Well, Jay, that was great. Thank you for coming down.
No problem.
I wish you good luck with the future, and I look forward to seeing this horror film. I really do. And thank you for coming to Manchester.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Jay Cunningham.
Cheers, thank you.
Thank you for watching and listening to the Entertainment Video Podcast. You can help support this video podcast by making a donation at Buy Me a Coffee, which is www.buymeacoffee.com/James Video Podcast. Please don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel and let me know who you would like to see on a future Entertainment Video Podcast.